What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Henry Wilson. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Live Show. Today we're taking a look at the Friday 11-game main slate over on the DraftKings. Our guy James Grande did the playbook for everybody. That is out and live over on Fantasy Alarm. You can check that out here. Henry, my friend, how we doing, man?
Doing great. Excited for another day of games. Sad there's, no day baseball today, but should be a good slate tonight. So
yeah, you'll get your day baseball fixed tomorrow. Big slate. I know Mark Pitt's already checking out the Saturday matchups. He'll be on the Saturday playbook. But we got 11 games maybe to be focusing on here today. We do have a couple of weather spots. Notably, it is seemingly more and more unlikely that the Orioles White Sox matchup will happen here. We are also waiting on some additional weather information in the Cubs-Cardinals game, which is kind of impactful for the reason that those two games hold the top two price starting pitchers on today's main slate here. So if we don't get the Cubs-Cardinals or Baltimore White Sox game, there's no Shota, there's no Corbin Burns, which means now we look at Zach Gallen as our top price starting pitcher here. Let's just dive into it. We appreciate you all tuning in. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Our guy Justin popping in saying, let's crush. Thanks for the content. Always appreciate your support here, Justin. Happy to have you in the chat with us here today. Let's get into it. Talk pitching with me, man. What are you looking at today?
Yeah, man, the weather kind of sucks because definitely when I first looked, Corbin Burns was definitely my favorite, and I really liked Imanaga too. Both are just so good, but with the weather, it seems like neither of them are going to be available. So I'm really okay to pivot to the next top guy here, though, with Zach Gallen. I think he's still a great option here against Miami. Just through 10 strikeouts against the Tigers. We know how great Gallen can be. I think this is a solid matchup for him. So with the other two aces wiped out of the board, it seems a really good shot to now take Gallen as one of the only really aces that exist here.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, at home against the Miami Marlins, win equity built in just because he's an elite starting pitcher, but also Miami throwing a lefty today here in Braxton Garrett, Arizona, a top 3 offense this season against left-handed pitching. So the runs are going to be there. Arizona, obviously, a good home team here as well. So yeah, listen, spending up for sure. With Gallen, it can be a way to go. We do have Coors Field on this slate. We have a lot of expensive Philadelphia Phillies that we may be trying to maneuver our way in against Ty Black here tonight. But spending up for Gallen, I think in agreement with you, makes some sense. We looked at Carlos Rodon here as well. The Padres, if their numbers against left-handed pitching, certainly haven't been anything spectacular. They're 25th. And weighted on base percentage this year against lefties at just 280. They don't strike out a ton, about a 20% strikeout rate, but just a 217 average, a 120 rather ISO. Rodon's been pitching pretty well here. Better ballpark to pitch in San Diego than in New York. Thoughts on Rodon at 9,200?
Yeah, I really like Rodon here as well. He's been pitching super well. I think he's got that strikeout upside that I think some of the other guys in this price range don't really have. I like Cutter Crawford. I like Justin Verlander. They don't have the strikeout upside that Carlos Rodon does, though. Even though the Padres don't strike out a lot, he has the stuff to still go out and pile up maybe 8 strikeouts if he's pitching really well. So yeah, absolutely willing to take Rodon here against the Padres.
You mentioned obviously Crawford, Verlander, in the mid-tier. Howard Bender had Kyle Harrison against the Mets. James Grande has James Paxton in his playbook today against the Reds. What are your thoughts when it comes to this 8K range?
Yeah, it's one place that I'm gonna, disagree with James a little bit today. I don't like James Paxton in this spot. I really think the Reds are pretty good against lefties, and Paxton just hasn't had the strikeout stuff. So I think, if I have to live in this area, I'm in agreement with the Kyle Harrison pick. Again, I like Cutter Crawford as the stability, but I just don't know if the upside's there. It doesn't have that huge strikeout stuff. Right. I think Kyle Harrison does have the strikeout stuff if he's pitching well, and the Mets offense has just not been scary.
Yeah, not at all. James Paxton has one of the probably rarest stats out there that I've seen where his K per 9 and his walk per 9 are the exact same this season. Yeah, it's 4.87 K per 9 and walks per 9 for James Paxton. Obviously James brings up a good point. The Dodgers do bring win equity, and Paxton for all of the walks has pitched around and been managed to escape any real damage going against him. He's got a 2.84 ERA. His
Crazy.
expected ERA is 5.55 and his xFIP is 5.43. Now he's in the Great American Small Park here. So, we've seen guys, you and I talk about this a lot, just continually like fade the pending doom. Paxton is a guy that feels like at any moment he could give up 9 runs. But again, they are big favorites here tonight. We'll talk some Dodgers offense, not necessarily pitching here today. Where are you with Yu Darvish? The man hasn't given up a run in what feels like ages. In fact, he's given up 24 straight scoreless innings. But the Yankees come to town here. Juan Soto revenge game. Aaron Judge is hot. Are you buying what we're seeing out of Yu Darvish right now?
I've always been a big Yu Darvish believer, so like I really like the talent. I like that he's getting strikeouts again. This is awesome, but right now the Yankees scare the crap out of me.
Yeah,
this is a pretty cheap price for Darvish and the stuff he can bring, but man, the Yankees are just so scary right now. That offense is clicking, and so I get that there could be some upside here with Darvish, but the Yankees don't strike out a lot either, and they also just have the risk of absolutely punishing you. So it just scares me too much to want to go to Yu Darvish today.
Talk about a run of starts for Yu Darvish though. Dodgers in Atlanta, and then the Yankees.
And he's done well against the Braves and Dodgers. Like maybe we should believe it. And, go with him against the Yankees. Like he probably is gonna be okay, but I don't know. It just
I'm with you there. He is an interesting. I don't think many go Yu Darvish today because of the Yankees matchup. If you want to be contrarian and you're making multiple tournament lineups today, like you mentioned, $8,000 for 30 plus fantasy points the last couple of slates here, definitely paying off the price tag. The strikeouts are great. Last year he had some control problems, not showing the walks that he had last year. So I'm liking the Darvish play as well. Talking about some value, I called out Christopher Sanchez. This is a guy that I've kind of been riding a lot this year. We haven't necessarily been afraid of Coors Field from a pitching standpoint. We haven't really been afraid of the Rockies lineup all that much, but Ryan McMahon is starting to heat up. Tovar starting to heat up. They are getting a little bit healthier. Does that worry you at all with Sanchez? Because 7,200 for a guy that's been around 8K for the last few starts here, it's a bit of a Coors Field discount.
Yeah, you're totally right. Rocky's offense has been performing better, but that doesn't really push me off Sanchez here. I'm with you. I like Christopher Sanchez. He's a really good pitcher. And just Coors doesn't scare me like it used to. The Rockies offense doesn't scare me at all. And I just think that he has some of it. When we just saw that 8 strikeouts against Washington, so we know he has that strikeout upside.
Right.
And he's just a solid pitcher. I just don't expect him to not go out and get a quality start still, probably even in Coors Field. So at this price, it just seems like a steal.
Similar price point. Our guy Justin wants your thoughts on Logan Allen. I kind of like the Angels here, but again, 12 shutout innings now in the last 2 starts for Logan Allen. Has he figured it out for you?
Yeah, Logan Allen and Christopher Sanchez are like my top 2 in the cheap guys today. I do prefer Christopher Sanchez a little bit, but Logan Allen has the talent, and we just saw it come together against Minnesota. I think Angels against lefties are a bit scarier than Minnesota is, just because Minnesota has all those lefty bats and strike out a lot. And so I do agree Angels have some intriguing bats against lefties because they've been hitting them so well. But the upside is still here with Logan Allen. We've seen him put together some really good outings. He just threw those 6 scoreless with 7 strikeouts against Minnesota. So for 7,400, again, the Angels offense isn't scary or anything, especially without Trout. So I'm totally willing to take a chance on him.
Any other value plays on this slate?
No, underneath Logan Allen and Christopher Sanchez, I don't want to touch any of the rest of those guys. I just don't see any upside at all.
I agree with you. We're actually getting an update here. Bryce Wilson will be piggybacking off of Jared Coing, who will be actually getting the start for Milwaukee today against Boston. So Wilson not getting the start would still likely pitch the bulk of the innings, just sort of given his role here, but not getting the actual starting nod here in this game against Boston. So something to at least take into account if you're playing Bryce Wilson against the Red Sox. Let's move on over to catcher here. Talk about some interesting plays. Where are you looking to start some lineup builds today?
Obviously, as we talked about, probably not spending up a whole ton for catcher. But I think there's some intriguing guys, especially in the middle. I really like Tyler Stevenson. Like I said, I'm kind of fading Paxton a little bit, and Tyler Stevenson has been hitting super well lately. I mean, obviously the last couple games, not a ton, but you look at that 1,000 OPS over the last 10 games. He's a really solid hitter against the lefty and Paxton. I kind of like that price for him today.
Yeah, 4K for Stevenson. Again, getting him in Cincinnati is nice. If you wanted your Coors Field exposure, that's there. Yanier Diaz is someone that you and I have played a lot, varying degrees of success. But hey,
Yeah.
3,800. He's not 42 anymore. So
Yeah, and it's against Ross Stripling. So.
Yeah, Ross Stripling, exactly. So you want to go Yanier Diaz and see if he starts to continue to come around. Certainly can. Connor Wong hitting third today for Boston. If you wanted to, Red Sox coming off of a sweep over Tampa Bay. Recently there. So their offense clicking a little bit more. Gabe Moreno against the lefty there and Braxton Garrett. Any other value plays for you?
Moreno, it probably is my favorite of the cheaper options. I think the matchup against the lefty and Garrett, who has been really bad, and I really like the Diamondbacks are one of my favorite stacks today. And Moreno isn't going to keep hitting 233. The batting average is going to come up. He's going to start hitting better. He's just too good at plate skills to keep doing this. So I really like that choice a lot. But other than that, I don't see a lot sticking out. Obviously, you could go someone like Reese McGuire against Bryce Wilson for pretty cheap is not bad. But yeah, that's most of what I was looking at.
All right, first base then. Working our way over. Again, I really like the Dodgers plays here. If you checked out my pick'em articles for Prize Picks, Underdog, and Sleeper, they all have one correlating play today. That is over half a homer for Shohei Ohtani. We're going there. Big boot. Prize Picks, you get a 17x play today if you play all four and hit. They're just, obviously the home run boost is big odds there. But a lot to like with Ohtani outside of him just being Shohei Ohtani. Graham Ashcraft allowing 2 homers per 9 to left-handed hitters on the year. If you go look at Park Factor over on StatCast, Great American Ballpark, the most home runs rating for StatCast there, more than Coors even. So, big boost in ballpark, a lot to like with the Dodgers there.
Yeah, can't agree more. Yeah, Ashcraft gives up a lot of homers anywhere, but then, Great American Ballpark is the number one park for homers and has been for several years now, pretty consistently. So, Dodgers are a great way to go. You obviously have to spend a lot for them, but I think if I'm not going to the Dodgers, I also really like Christian Walker today.
Sure.
Already talked about my love of the Diamondbacks offense a little bit against Garrett, but especially Walker here against the lefty. He also just provides that power. And Braxton Garrett's been struggling really bad. So I really like him today as well if you're going to live at the top end.
Yeah, we got a couple of comments already in the chat here today. Cam the Man mentioning David Fry, JD Dowing talking about JD Fry here as well, or talking about Fry here as well. James Grande has Fry in his playbook. Thoughts on David Fry, who had catcher eligibility there for a little bit. Now he's first base outfield only. Man's been heating up. Thoughts on him today against Sandoval?
I mean, he's red hot, so you can't really ignore that at this point. He's someone that I obviously wouldn't have really had on my radar before this bit of a hot streak, but he's absolutely crushing the ball. And so, obviously I'm not a huge believer in Patrick Sandoval. He's an okay pitcher, but not someone I'm shying away against. So the righty-lefty matchup here for David Fry. Why not ride the hot hand and see if you can keep this going? Because this is a ridiculous run that he is on.
Yeah, for sure. And again, Fry's not like some young prospect, right? He's 28, 29 years old. He's just a career minor leaguer that is just catching a hot run right now and swinging a good bat. So sure, you want to pay the 4,200. Maybe you're playing a Guardian stack here today. You get Fry in there. That certainly makes some sense. Giant Candelario, again, if you're not in on Paxton here today, steers 5K. But Candelario has historically hit lefties really well. Last year killed them. Slowly maybe starting to wake up a bit. Had the triple, had a home run the last 10. He's a better hitter than he's shown all season long here. So maybe this is a spot for him to wake up. And if we're gonna get 5 walks per 9 out of Paxton here, maybe there'll be some ducks on the pond for Candelario hitting third today.
Yeah, can't agree more. Candelario is definitely my favorite spend down at first base today. Batting third and hits lefties well. And like I said, I kind of like the Reds against Paxton.
I got 2 other value plays because we can't go by a first base position without mentioning Lamonte Wade. He's $3,500. Howard laughs whenever I call him up. The man's hitting 340 with a 900 OPS. So
and his OBP is over 450 still or something absurd like
don't
that.
Touch his price. He lives at $3,500. I'm going to just keep calling out Lamonte Wade whenever righty's on the mound.
Absolutely.
And happy to take the advantage of the value. And then if you're not in on Jose Urania, because I think eventually he's going to just suck. He's not a good pitcher. He's pitched kind of around some damage this year. You got the Twins here in Minnesota. Carlos Santana's 37.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm full agreement with you there.
Cool. All right, second base. Top men are up at the top there. Where are you looking to go today?
It's Ketel Marte for sure. We're going to go right back here to the Diamondbacks. Obviously, I like the Diamondbacks today. But even if you weren't in on the other Diamondbacks, like Marte against a lefty, albeit a lefty that's been struggling, it's really hard to not pay the price for Ketel Marte in that scenario.
Yep. Still has the ridiculous hitting streak going where his batting average has actually fallen because he's largely been 1 for 4 or 1 for 5 during this stretch here. But yeah, if you go through the lineup, there's a reason why they're second in WOBA, like third in OPS against left-handed pitching. It's just a guy like Marte hitting 347 against them, a 389 ISO this year against left-handed pitching. Definitely sort of makes some sense to get the $5,000 spend there. But I matched that with Luis Rengifo. He's got second and third base eligibility. I've talked extensively about him. Last couple of seasons, around a 300 ISO, almost a 400 WOBA. It's continuing this year. He's hitting over 400 against them and a smaller sample size. But this man just feasts off left-handed pitching here today. So if you're not a believer in Logan Allen, Rengifo here, certainly a guy that is hot right now and in a great split spot for him.
Yeah, he continues to just crush lefties.
Yeah, it's just a matchup I just can't, always like to call out whenever we get the opportunity to do so. Where else are you looking at second today?
I also like Nico Horner for 4,000. Like, I know he hasn't been hitting great lately, but against Miles Michaelis, I think this Cubs offense could do a lot. And for this price, he just still has a lot of upside. And I do believe that he'll start hitting a lot more. And you could see this guy being a 5K second baseman again in like 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, if this game plays off, the Cubs could be sneaky here today in that matchup, and also would put Shota back in the mix as a starting pitcher. Will the game tonight is at 7?
Yeah, obviously, watch the weather because
8:00 start, so you'll have to pay attention to the weather there. But Horner's certainly in a good spot. If you're not on Christopher Sanchez, our guy M. Rojas mentioned Sanchez struggling on the road this year. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But Brendan Rodgers is a guy that does, has made a career basically hitting lefties in cores. It's the only reason he's probably still in baseball. So if you wanted to snag Brendan Rodgers hitting second today against Sanchez, if you're not playing Sanchez, fine there. Any other options for you? I mean, it's a big slate, so there's a lot of value, just on the board, but anybody that you're interested in playing.
Yeah, I'll go to Gavin Lux batting sixth. I know I keep going to Gavin Lux, and like more than half the time it is not working, but I still believe him as a hitter. And against exactly, like hitting six in this Dodgers lineup, like the guy is a good hitter. He's gonna hit better than this. I do truly believe that. And so here again against Ashcraft, 6 in this Dodgers lineup in Cincinnati for $3,000. Like there's just a really good chance that he returns value there.
Yep, I agree with you. I'm not really interested in much else down here. Let's move on over to the third base position. Alec Bohm is $6,100. He is one of the Phillies that I'm going to be looking to target here today against Ty Block. Really hitting the ball well against left-handed pitching on the season. Obviously, Ramirez and Devers are in that same ilk up at the top. Where are you looking to go at third today?
Yeah, obviously any of those top 3 options are like pretty quality. But honestly, like most likely if I'm going to be up at second base, I'm going to go to like a guy we already talked about, Luis Rengifo, who, 4,600, because then I can play I can stick with Marte at second, play Rengifo in third in this matchup. Again, if you're not going at Logan Allen. And so I think that's just a place where I'd rather save my money. But if I'm not going for Bohm, Ramirez, or Devers.
Sure. Working our way down a little bit more. Obviously, there's Bregman at $4,400. We mentioned Candelario as well. If you're looking to save some money, you can go there at 38. Josh Smith at 39. Let's see.
Guy like we're really cheap here today is Mark Vientos.
Sure.
Yeah. We talked Harrison a little bit of having that strikeout upside, but Vientos off to a quality start here in his last few games. Last 3 starts, he has 5 hits and 3 doubles and a homer. This is a guy who is a pretty highly touted bat as a prospect. So against the lefty, I'm willing to ride the hot bat here there too.
Yeah, I like that call. Again, if you're not in on Harrison, we didn't really go over him too much because Bender did like Harrison on the preview show, but hard to ignore what Vientos has done this year. In his limited sample size for sure at the plate. Nobody else really for me as we work down there, seeing Santiago Espinal hitting 6th is maybe a bit interesting if you're stacking Reds today.
Yeah.
But not really like a great bat there per se. Shortstop. Shortstop's kind of interesting. I have a value play, I'll highlight, but obviously the top end guys here are all pretty elite. How would you rank them out?
Well, I mean, how can you not choose all of them? I think if I have to rank them out, like I think I go Gunner first, but then I probably prefer Mookie Betts over Ellie De La Cruz.
Okay.
Even though like I like the Reds against Paxton, but it's Mookie Betts and it's in
Right.
Cincinnati. But really, like you just can't go wrong at the shortstop position today. There are so many guys that I like here that I wish I could make like an entire lineup out of shortstops.
I agree with you. There used to be a DFS platform where it was basically all utility. I forget what the site was there, but yeah, you didn't have to specify. It was like infield, outfield, and like pitching. That there was no like first base, second base designation, so you could play like 6 shortstops today. Maybe it was Super Draft. I forget. It might have been Super Draft, but I agree with you. The top end guys are great. Seager's heating up. Pena, Tovar, if you wanted to go there. You mentioned Horner already. My value guy was Edmundo Sosa, though, against left-handed pitching this year for Sosa. He's hitting 355. He's got a 355 ISO as well, a 491 weighted on base percentage, of 700 slugging against lefties on the year. He's got 4 doubles, 2 triples, and a homer in 31 at-bats. So the man is just absolutely tearing apart left-handed pitching. $3,800. You want cheaper Coors exposure? Like, he's your guy. He's the only guy that's basically under 4K playing in Coors today.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Again, I like a lot of these guys. I think you could go Pena, you could go Correa even. I like Kim against Rodon, even though I'm in on Rodon just because Kim hits lefties well. But if I have to choose anyone, I'm going to Edmundo Sosa as well. Because, yeah, like you said, the Phillies bats are, most of them, pretty expensive today. Right. But you get Sosa, who's only 3,800 and is hitting the ball super well lately. Like really hard to not grab that exposure.
Yeah, splits aside, just in general, he's 11 for 29, 379 with 1,100 OPS. He homered the other day, had 3 hits yesterday.
Yeah,
dude is really starting to heat up in a really great spot today. After that, I don't really have any other value plays. Dansby Swanson is down here at 32. So if you wanted to continue to take advantage of the cheap Swanson price tag, you certainly can. If your lineup build gets there, again, that's a game we're waiting on the weather for as well. So if you're going to plug him in against Miles Mikolas tonight, you got to make sure he's actually playing today.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Don't love a whole lot more here just because, the fact that you can get Sosa for 3,800, are you really saving enough money here to not just go up to him? I just don't see the upside down here that's worth saving this extra money.
Agreed. We got Cam the Man as we move over to Outfield asking us to rank Harper, Ohtani, Tucker today. Obviously, few have been as hot as Kyle Tucker. He's got Ross Stripling here. We talked Ohtani already. Rank the outfield, I guess, for us here today, because while he's asking Harper, Ohtani, Tucker, you have Soto in a return game to San Diego. He's been on fire lately as well. Judge has been hot. Like, where are you going with your outfield today?
Obviously the Yankees bats have been really hot, but again, against Darvish, I don't know if I want to roll the dice with how well he has been pitching. Like I said, I didn't really want to roll the dice with him, but I don't really want to roll the dice against him right now.
Either, yeah.
So I think I would rank him as, Ohtani number 1, Kyle Tucker number 2. I think you're talking 1A, 1B here, though. Like, those 2 guys are so top. I just prefer this matchup in Cincinnati, but Kyle Tucker continues to be crazy red hot, and those are easily the 2 guys that obviously they're 2 of the most expensive guys, but if I'm paying up for outfield or really anywhere, Ohtani and Tucker are 2 guys I'm paying up for.
Okay, so you'd have Ohtani Tucker ahead of Harper today if you were ranking them out for his top spends.
Yeah, I would, but again, you're talking 1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah.
This is like a tight ranking at the top here. All 3 are fantastic.
I agree with you. Our guy Ryan saying he's doing a 4-man Dodger stack. He's got 2 Diamondbacks, 1 Boston, 1 off, and punting catcher, but he's fading Coors. Justin Verlander is ranking out to be one of the higher rostered starting pitchers here for today, and he's going to play Darvish against the Yankees. So good luck with your lineup builds there. Certainly getting some high-powered offense, and hoping that he continues to keep it going. Mark saying if you had to play one of the 5 Twins outfielders today, which Twin outfielder are we playing? Kepler, Buxton, Castro, Larnach, I would imagine would be the 4 primary guys to look at here.
Ooh, I'm probably going to roll with Kepler if I have to choose one of the outfielders myself.
Yeah, he's been the hotter of the group there. 300, 910 OPS. He obviously had Buxton with a double dong game the other day.
Yeah.
T Nation saying Trevor Larnach here. He's cooled off a bit. He was the guy we rode earlier when he was like $3,500 up to 43. I always like Castro because he has the speed and home run potential, more speed, but lately showing a little bit of power. But yeah, Kepler, the more consistent hitter this season, if you're going to go there, Mark, going up against Urania. Let's go back to some of these top outfielders, though. Obviously, we kind of talked about the few lower 5K range into the upper 4K. Where are some of your favorites?
Yeah, I'm, if you're not going Logan Allen, I'm willing to still stick with Taylor Ward as well. He, has just been hitting the ball super well. Obviously, last 2 games, 0-for-3, 0-for-4, but that doesn't really worry me. I do believe in him as a hitter. And I also think Christian Yelich is still a great play here, even though I really do like Cutter Crawford. I don't really necessarily want to stack against Cutter Crawford, but Christian Yelich always has the potential to give you a lot of upside.
Yeah, for sure. Again, some of the power and speed recently we've gotten out of him. Jaron Duran, same thing, has some power, some speed. We talked about him. He stole home the other day. Obviously, you have your Philly. We'll just blanket statement say if you're playing Philly, that's fine. They're in cores. We won't sit here and really fight you on it. All of that's good to go. Where else are we looking as we get down to the lower 4K range? Any names in particular? We talked Fry already. Verdugo, I know you're not really in on going up against Darvish. What are your thoughts down here?
Yeah, I like the other Red Sox guy here in Willy Abreu.
Sure.
He's heating back up a little bit lately. Last 4 games, he's got quite a few hits, a couple doubles, homered in his last game. So definitely like him as against Bryce Wilson here, who definitely don't trust.
Yeah, Weiler's been really good, coming back around for sure. Pages hitting 8th, but if you want some more Dodgers exposure, we had where was it here? Can the man pointing out Stuart Fairchild is leading off today against Paxton. He's $2,900. If you're looking for some value here, Fairchild on the year, I had his lefty splits pulled up. He's actually hitting the ball relatively well. Obviously, smaller sample size for him, but these are the times in DFS, daily fantasy baseball, where you ride the split matchup, not necessarily the day-to-day production this season against left-handed pitching. 60 at-bats here, hitting 321 against lefties, 150 ISO, 470 slug, 380 WOBA. So some good numbers for Fairchild. I guess my one worry is I believe he's one of those guys that gets pinch hit for basically once the lefty comes out of the game. So if you're going to play Fairchild today, you got to hope he does his damage early because he does find himself getting pulled fairly often. I mean, look at all these games with just 2 ABs, right? Like, the lefty comes out basically and he's out of the game himself. So I don't mind if you want to plug him in there and hope for some early success. That certainly can be had there. Ceddanne Rafael is 3K. For some value. Jake Myers, someone that you and I have been playing a lot of, is actually hitting righties really well.
Yeah.
He's $3,200 against Stripling if you're looking for some value out of that Astros lineup there.
I like Lo Perfito for the Astros as well. I think he also, against Stripling, again, he's kind of been up and down a little bit, but, another guy you're a little worried about at bats, but against Ross Stripling, I don't mind it.
Yep, got Joe Adell there, 37, kind of working our way backwards. Kevin Pillar is the cover of James' playbook here today. I said it to Howard, and he just kind of laughed because, I mean, again, this won't last forever, but, ride it while you can, right? I mean, he's hitting cleanup. He's been unconscious lately, 1,000 OPS for the year. So if you're not playing Logan Allen, you're getting some Angels in your lineup, you got to plug some Kevin Pillar in your lineup. There's Lourdes. Lourdes Gurriel. For the overall numbers, obviously don't look great. I think you can say that for a lot of Arizona Diamondbacks here. Maybe he's starting to wake up a little bit, hits in 5 straight games, but his lefty numbers are still very, very good. He basically isn't touching any right-handed pitching this season, but you get him on the in the plate against a left-handed pitcher, and the numbers are what you would hope they would be. One of the reasons, again, why Arizona is what they are against left-handed pitching on the season. Lourdes is hitting 360 against Southpaws, 190 ISO, 940 OPS, 550 slug, and a 411 weighted on base. So Overall numbers don't look great. Recent numbers look but splits wise, 61 plate appearances this year, over 400 weighted on base percentage, and almost a 200 ISO. Good enough to get Lourdes in your lineup at 4,200 today.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about a guy who was over 5,000 for a lot of this season. So now that you have the good matchup and he's this cheap because of the struggles, yeah, pull the trigger now.
Agreed. We got a best catcher on today's slate. I mean, again, we generally look to go value-wise for catcher. So we mentioned Tyler Stevenson there at 4K. If you wanted the Elias Diaz, you're spending up for Coors. Him and Goodman are both in the lineup. I think a hop could be interesting against Allen. We also mentioned Gabriel Moreno for value play at 33. So a lot of different spots you can go with at the catcher position here today for sure. Let's get a lineup build going here. Where did we want to go with our pitching today?
Well, I think we both like Christopher Sanchez as a lock-in cheap option here against Coors.
That works for me. Willing to go Sanchez there. Grande saying, how about Real Muto? Yeah, if you're spending up at catcher today, that's fine. But you got to spend up at the catcher position.
Yeah,
if you're going there.
Price doesn't matter. Yes, Real Muto is my favorite option today if I don't count price.
Again, there's nothing wrong with spending up for your catcher. He's an elite catcher. He has power. He's one of the few that are obviously worth the price tag. But know that you're then almost taking yourself out of Ohtani and all those other guys when catcher's generally the spend down spot here today. So, all right. So we have Sanchez in. I think we said Gallen, right? Or did you want to go mid tier with like a Kyle Harrison?
I think I prefer to spend up for Gallen.
Okay. All right. So let's figure out what we can do for a lineup build then. We got we'll go Gabe Moreno for the value for now.
Yeah.
If we need to go cheaper, we can figure it out. First base. Where did we want to do? We want to go Ohtani at first, and because since we talked a lot of value outfielders, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I don't hate that. I know you. Yeah, you really talked up Ohtani, and I can't argue against that. Yeah, knowing we can save in the outfield, let's do it.
We might as well get Fairchild in because he's 2,900, and we're looking for some value again. Hopefully, he just gets it done for us early on. Fry had outfield eligibility. He's 42. Sosa was the one I liked. He was 38 in shortstop.
Yes.
All right, so that gives us about 4K a play for second, third, and 2 outfielders. So
okay.
Again, spending up is pitcher, and Ohtani obviously takes away some of our flexibility here.
Why don't we go Mark Vientos at third and save us money for second and outfield?
Okay, that works. Vientos at third, 2,900. 4,300.
Okay, that's better. Do you want to spend up at second base and go like a Ketel Marte? And
if we do Marte, that gives us 4K. Let's do Marte. Let's do Lourdes.
Yeah, 4,200.
Right? And that gives us 3,800 for our final outfield here, which is, I guess we can.
Hey, let's throw Pilar in there.
There we go. Cover boy of the playbook makes the lineup.
Yeah.
Sanchez, Gallen, Moreno, Ohtani, Marte, Vientos, Sosa, Fairchild, Gurriel, and Pilar. Just an example lineup for everybody here today. Again, go check out James Grande's playbook. I'll throw that in the chat right now for all of you. Got to be a member of the Fantasy Alarm family to check out today's playbook. If you're not yet signed up to your All-Pro subscription, go to fantasyalarm.com/win. You can scan that QR code there on the screen. Use promo code Let's Go. Get a discount on your first month. If you want to go annual subscription, you save 40% off the monthly price. That means you get everything that's behind the paywall for an entire year, including our premium Discord that will cover you all the way through the fantasy football season. You'll get access to our fantasy football draft guide, our fantasy football cheat sheet, everything that is on Fantasy Alarm, you get access to with the annual subscription, and you save a whole bunch of money signing up for the year. Otherwise, you can go month to month, go to fantasyalarm.com/win, use promo code Let's Go at checkout there. Henry, enjoy your Memorial Day. No live stream on Monday because it's a whole bunch of day baseball. We'll be back live on Tuesday. Until then, everybody enjoy your long weekend. Enjoy the barbecues, and we'll catch you all later.